Hey, friends. Well, first off, I hope you can't hear my air conditioner. Secondly, if this sounds weird, it's because I'm laying in bed. And I was thinking about how I've had some conversations with some friends lately, and I noticed a theme that I surround myself with people who apologize a lot. And I don't mean for things they've done wrong, I mean for existing. And I was thinking about it out loud with a friend the other day, and I've noticed kind of a correlation between this need to apologize for taking up my time or coming to me for advice, for taking up space, and a history with dealing with a narcissist. And that's not a term I throw around lightly, or coming from a place of trauma. And I found it pretty interesting that we lose so much of ourselves through experiencing trauma and abuse that we have to apologize for existing around people who love us. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that. So, welcome to Mourning People, the podcast for survivors of emotional abuse who don't do grief right. So if you've ever caught yourself apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for needing help, for speaking up, then I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. And I really wanted to touch on trauma, especially when it comes to narcissistic abuse and emotional neglect, and how it wires us to constantly say sorry, even when we didn't do anything wrong, when all we did was breathe a little too loud, or feel a little too much, or need a bit of care. But what if I told you that you don't owe the world your silence to be loved? If you grew up around someone who made you feel like your emotions were a burden, or you had a partner who turned every conversation into your fault, or you were told you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too needy, then chances are you learned to apologize to stay safe. You learned to shrink yourself. You learned to say sorry before someone could say you were wrong. You made yourself small so no one would be mad at you. You became an expert at taking blame just to keep the peace. That's not you being weak. That's you surviving. But the truth is, you're not here to be palatable. You're not here to be invisible. You don't have to explain your every need like it's a courtroom confession. You don't have to apologize for the way your heart beats louder when you care. That guilt you feel is not your fault. It's a learned defense. And it makes sense that it's there, but it doesn't have to run your life anymore. So, what do we do when we feel the need to apologize? What are some things we can say in those moments instead of "I'm sorry"? And like everything I talk about, this takes practice, and it's really hard to remember in the moment. And you don't even necessarily have to say it out loud in the moment. You can say it to yourself later and practice when you come home and you think about the conversation like we all do, and we think about the thing we should have said in the moment. This is a great time to practice these things, or just to tell yourself. You can tell yourself you didn't do anything wrong. You can say, "I'm allowed to take up space." You can say, "I'm not sorry for existing." And practice these things like a daily affirmation. And when you learn to say it in the moment, when you learn to say it to that person, it might feel terrifying at first. You might feel like they're going to rage or retreat or reject you, but Healing means choosing you, even when your nervous system is screaming for you not to, because you're not responsible for other people's reactions to your wholeness. You are responsible for showing up as yourself. Start small and notice when the word sorry is about guilt, when it's about fear, and pause and take a deep breath and try replacing it with truth. Thanks for your patience. I appreciate you listening. I needed to say that. I find myself sometimes, I'll apologize and then immediately I'll be like, I'm actually not sorry. Sometimes I say, I'm sorry for the way that sounded, or I'm sorry for the way that came out, but that feeling attached to it is the truth. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Again, it helps if you practice these things with people you feel safe with. I'm not telling you to stand up to your abuser if there's going to be extreme repercussions, right? But if you're out of it and you're in a safe space and you're noticing that you apologize to your friend when you phone them, you can be like, wait, no, I'm not sorry I phoned you. I like you and you like me and we're friends and we're going to talk, right? This is how you start to rewire what you were taught. This is how you teach your body that you're safe now, that you don't need to beg for acceptance, and that you're allowed to just be. So if today you catch yourself apologizing for crying or needing rest or saying no or for not having the right words, stop, take a breath, put your hand on your chest and say, I'm allowed to be here just as I am. You're not too much. You're not a burden. You're unlearning, and that is brave as hell. Thank you for being here, friends. Thank you for healing. Thank you for being a safe space. And you know what? On the theme of apologizing, I'm going to stop apologizing for being awkward, especially during recording these episodes. I apologize a lot. And you know what? I'm not fucking sorry. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to try to stop it. Okay, friends, that's it for me today. It's actually 10:30 at night right now. And I was just like laying here trying to sleep, thinking about this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to write this out and immediately make an episode about it, or I'm not going to sleep tonight. So that's fun. Anyways, I'm going to go to bed. Have a great day. Take up space. You're allowed to. I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're taking up space. You're not alone. You're a mourning person. Bye.